Ma'am, sir, forgive me for bothering you, but something's been troubling me about this dashboard. See this number here? And then this one over here. They're telling completely different stories about the same customer segment. This kind of contradiction, it's what keeps me up at night. I've been investigating data quality issues like this for years, and there's always one common thread: the absence of what we call a data steward. These detail-oriented professionals catch these inconsistencies before they reach decision makers. In today's podcast, I'll walk you through the crime scene of data gone wrong and show you how these corporate detectives restore order to information chaos. The $1 million mistake. Picture this. A luxury automotive brand launches what was supposed to be their most targeted campaign yet. After months of planning and a 7-figure budget, they hit send on an email blast promoting their high-end sports cars with exclusive financing offers. The campaign reaches thousands of recipients. But something's terribly wrong. Instead of landing in the inboxes of qualified luxury car buyers, the messages are delivered to people who merely searched for basic car maintenance tips online. The response is immediate and brutal. Social media lights up with complaints about tone-deaf marketing. Customer service lines are flooded with irritated callers. And worse yet, the campaign generates virtually no qualified leads, just a wave of unsubscribes and damaged brand perception. Behind closed doors at corporate headquarters, the blame game begins. The CMO demands answers from the marketing director. How could we spend $1.2 million to reach the wrong people entirely? The marketing team points fingers at the data analytics department. The targeting criteria you provided was fundamentally flawed. The data team responds defensively. We used exactly the segments marketing requested. While executives and teams argue the real culprit goes unaddressed, no one was responsible for ensuring the quality and accuracy of the customer data itself. What began as a simple data entry error 3 months earlier had cascaded into a full-blown business disaster. This scenario plays out more often than companies care to admit. The $1 million mistake wasn't just about wasted marketing dollars, it triggered a domino effect of consequences. Customer trust, painstakingly built over years, eroded overnight. The sales pipeline projected to generate $4.8 million in revenue from the campaign came up empty, and internally, the cross-departmental tension hampered collaboration for months afterward. When the executive team finally commissioned a proper forensic analysis of what went wrong, the truth emerged. The root cause wasn't marketing strategy or analytics methodology. It was a fundamental data quality issue. The customer segmentation database contained critical flaws that no one had caught before launch. The investigation revealed multiple failure points that could have been identified with proper oversight. First, duplicate customer records created an inflated audience size, making the campaign appear more promising during planning stages. Second, inconsistent field values meant that interest in luxury vehicles was being confused with merely interest in vehicles because of inconsistent tagging protocols. And third, the segmentation criteria itself had been incorrectly applied during the database query, pulling in consumers who had minimal engagement with the brand. Perhaps most concerning was the discovery that these weren't new problems. Small discrepancies had been accumulating in the customer database for over a year, gradually compromising its reliability. Like compound interest working in reverse, these minor data flaws grew exponentially over time until they ultimately sabotaged a major business initiative. What makes this situation particularly frustrating is how preventable it was. Had someone been examining the quality of the data before it was used to drive major business decisions, the inconsistencies would have been obvious. A simple audit would have revealed that 28% of the luxury buyer segment hadn't even searched for vehicles priced above $30,000. Clearly not the target market for a $90,000 sports car. This is where the concept of data stewardship becomes vital. Data errors don't announce themselves with warning lights and alarm bells. They lurk quietly in databases, spreadsheets, and CRM systems until they emerge at the most inopportune moments, like when you've just invested $1 million in a precision-targeted campaign. Data stewards function as the detectives of the data world. They investigate inconsistencies, establish standard procedures for data entry and management, and ensure that business-critical information maintains its integrity throughout its life cycle. Their work isn't merely technical, it's deeply connected to business outcomes. In our automotive marketing disaster, a data steward would have questioned why the luxury buyer segment had grown by an unusual 46% in one quarter. They would have spotted the field value inconsistencies during routine quality checks. And most importantly, they would have established clear ownership of the data, eliminating the finger-pointing that occurred after the campaign failed. Data stewards approach data as detectives approach a case, with methodical investigation, attention to detail, and a determination to find the truth. They conduct regular data health checks, examining patterns and anomalies that might indicate problems. They establish clear trails of data lineage, documenting where information comes from and how it transforms as it moves through systems. And they create governance frameworks that prevent quality issues from arising in the first place. When implemented properly, data stewardship transforms from a mundane technical function into a business-critical role that prevents costly mistakes. Organizations with mature data stewardship practices report 70% fewer data-related incidents and can resolve the issues that do occur 68% faster than organizations without such practices. But beyond prevention, data stewards also enable positive business outcomes. With reliable data, marketing campaigns reach the right customers with relevant messages. Product teams make development decisions based on accurate customer feedback, and executives gain confidence in the forecasts and analyses that drive strategic planning. The value becomes clear when we return to our automotive marketing disaster. After implementing a data stewardship program, the company launched a follow-up campaign 6 months later. This time, with proper data oversight, they reached a truly qualified audience of luxury vehicle shoppers. The campaign generated a 31% response rate and eventually produced $5.2 million in sales, all with a smaller budget than the failed campaign. The transformation wasn't immediate or simple. It required creating new roles, establishing processes, and investing in data quality tools. But the return on investment was unmistakable. For every dollar spent on data stewardship, the company saved approximately $5 in prevented errors and generated an additional $3 through improved business outcomes. This is the true power of data detectives. They don't just fix data problems after they occur. They prevent disasters before they happen. They establish early warning systems that flag potential issues before they impact business operations. And they create a culture where data quality becomes everyone's responsibility, not just an IT concern. As data volumes grow exponentially and organizations become increasingly data-driven, the need for skilled data stewards will only increase. These professionals bridge the gap between technical specifications and business requirements, translating complex data concepts into terms that stakeholders throughout the organization can understand and act upon. Profile of a data detective. While many companies frantically hire data scientists and analysts, they miss the crucial role that makes those positions effective. Ever wonder why some organizations seamlessly turn data into decisions while others drown in information overload? The answer lies with an unsung professional operating at the crossroads of business and technology, the data steward, a true data detective whose expertise makes the difference between clarity and chaos. A data steward is far more than just a title on an organizational chart. At their core, data stewards are subject matter experts within specific data domains who ensure information is accurate, consistent, and usable across the organization. They're the guardians who maintain data integrity, the translators who ensure business and technical teams speak the same language, and the problem solvers who prevent costly mistakes before they happen. The common perception of data stewardship couldn't be further from reality. Many view it as a mundane administrative role focused on documentation and maintenance, essentially data babysitting. In truth, data stewards are critical problem solvers, performing investigative work that directly impacts business outcomes. They don't just maintain data. They actively hunt down inconsistencies, resolve definitional conflicts, and ensure that the information powering business decisions is trustworthy. These professionals serve as the vital bridge connecting technical teams with business users. Picture a marketing executive trying to explain to a database administrator why they need customer preference data structured in a specific way. Without a data steward in the middle, these conversations often resemble people speaking entirely different languages. The data steward translates the marketing team's business requirements. We need to segment customers by their luxury vehicle interests into technical specifications the database team can implement. We need separate fields for vehicle price range interest and categorical vehicle type preference. This translation works in both directions. When IT teams explain technical limitations or data architecture considerations, data stewards reframe these concepts in business terms that stakeholders can understand and act upon. They might explain to marketing that certain customer behavior data can't be collected retroactively, or that combining two data sources would create reliability issues that could impact campaign performance. What makes data stewards uniquely valuable is their position at the intersection of business knowledge and technical understanding. Unlike pure technologists, they grasp the commercial implications of data decisions, how information drives revenue, affects customer experience, and enables strategic initiatives. Unlike business analysts who may lack deep technical expertise, data stewards understand data structures, quality parameters, and system limitations. This dual perspective enables them to make informed judgments that balance technical feasibility with business needs. These data detectives prevent disasters before they happen through proactive monitoring and intervention. They establish data quality rules that flag anomalies before they contaminate downstream systems. They create governance frameworks that prevent inconsistent definitions from causing confusion. And they build data dictionaries and business glossaries that ensure everyone across the organization uses the same terminology, preventing the "we're looking at the same numbers but seeing different things" phenomenon that plagues so many organizations. What's particularly fascinating is that data stewardship comes in 5 distinct varieties, each with unique responsibilities and focus areas. Understanding these types helps organizations determine which ones they need based on their specific challenges and data landscape. The most common is the domain data steward, also known as the data object or subject area data steward. These specialists manage reference data, master data, and attributes within a specific business domain. Customer data, company hierarchy, address information, industry codes, or financial data. They require strong executive sponsorship and work across functional lines, often as part of cross-departmental teams of subject matter experts. Domain data stewards ensure quality and consistency within their designated areas, providing the foundation for effective data governance. And the second type is the functional data steward, sometimes called a business data steward. These professionals manage critical data used by specific business functions like sales or marketing. They serve as key representatives within their business areas, taking responsibility for the quality, use, and meaning of data within the organization. Functional data stewards define procedures, policies, and requirements for data governance programs, particularly important when data is shared between several business units. Process data stewards, the third variety, manage data across specific business processes, often spanning multiple data domains. These specialists typically emerge from process improvement teams and require strong cross-process governance to succeed. They regularly collaborate with functional and domain data stewards to ensure data quality and consistency throughout entire processes. You might find these roles filled by lean specialists or process improvement experts who understand how data flows through organizational workflows. Technical data stewards, the fourth type, manage data for one or more IT systems, often enterprise data warehouse architects, MDM practitioners, or data modelers. They understand how data is created, transformed, stored, and moved within technical systems. These professionals work closely with domain and functional data stewards to populate data dictionaries, business glossaries, and data catalogs with accurate technical metadata. Finally, lead data stewards oversee data domain stewardship groups, acting as conductors for their specific domains. They lead teams of data stewards, providing leadership, direction, management, and advocacy for data and its metadata. As the face of data stewardship, they ensure governance practices are effectively implemented and maintained across the organization. The backgrounds of effective data stewards are surprisingly diverse. Many come from information science, which provides a strong foundation in data management and cataloging principles. However, technical knowledge alone isn't enough. Data stewards need exceptional soft skills, particularly in customer contact and communication, to effectively interact with researchers and other stakeholders. They must demonstrate the ability to acquire additional knowledge as needed and exercise judgment about when to handle problems independently versus when to involve IT or other specialized teams. So, Which type of data steward does your organization need? The answer depends on your specific challenges. Companies struggling with inconsistent customer information across departments might prioritize domain data. Stewards focused on customer data. Organizations dealing with cross-functional reporting discrepancies might need functional data stewards to establish common definitions. Businesses implementing new enterprise systems require technical data stewards to ensure proper data migration and integration. Most organizations eventually need some combination of all 5 types, working in coordination to create a comprehensive data governance framework. The key is identifying your most pressing data pain points and starting there, gradually building out the team as your data governance maturity increases. A day in the life, case files. As organizations build their data governance frameworks, the daily reality for data stewards involves far more than maintaining databases and documenting processes. Their workdays unfold as a series of investigations, with each morning potentially bringing new data emergencies that could derail critical business decisions if left unresolved. Imagine a time-lapse view of a data steward's day, a flurry of activity punctuated by moments of intense focus. The morning typically begins with a systematic review of automated alerts from data quality monitoring systems. Like a detective scanning police reports, the data steward quickly prioritizes issues based on business impact, focusing first on discrepancies that might affect imminent executive decisions or customer-facing processes. Take Jessica, a domain data steward specializing in customer information at a financial services firm. Her Monday begins with an urgent alert. The customer churn prediction dashboard is showing anomalous patterns that don't align with historical trends. The marketing team is scheduled to use this dashboard for campaign planning in just 3 hours. The clock is ticking. Jessica's first step is triage. She examines the alert details, noting that customer retention scores have suddenly improved by 25% overnight, a statistical impossibility given the company's stable business operations. Rather than celebrating this apparent improvement, her data detective instincts immediately suspect a data integrity issue. With the priority established, she begins her investigation by examining recent changes to data pipelines, system updates, or batch processes that might explain the sudden shift. She discovers that an overnight ETL job introduced a new version of customer satisfaction scoring, but without properly transforming historical data for comparison. The apparent improvement is merely an artifact of inconsistent measurement methods. This scenario illustrates one of the most common issues data stewards address: conflicting data definitions across departments. The customer service team had recently refined their satisfaction measurement methodology to better reflect actual customer sentiment, but hadn't coordinated with the analytics team maintaining the churn prediction models. The result? 2 departments operating with different definitions of the same critical business metric. Jessica's investigation deepens as she interviews stakeholders from both departments. I need to understand exactly how both teams interpret customer satisfaction scores and how they're using these metrics in their daily operations, she explains to her manager. These conversations often reveal surprising insights. In this case, that the marketing team has been blending the satisfaction scores with product usage data in ways the data architecture never intended to support. The investigation continues with a meticulous examination of data lineage, tracking the flow of information from source systems through various transformations to final consumption points. Jessica maps out how customer satisfaction data originates in survey responses, gets processed through sentiment analysis algorithms, and ultimately feeds multiple dashboards and reports. This process reveals several undocumented transformation steps where inconsistencies could be introduced. Having identified the root cause, Jessica doesn't simply implement a quick fix. Instead, she collaborates with the IT team to develop a more systematic solution. This collaboration is a critical aspect of the data steward's role. As one data steward explained, we possess basic programming knowledge to understand the algorithms behind the services, which helps us assess problems and determine when to involve IT, streamlining the problem-solving process. The IT team helps implement a technical fix that standardizes how satisfaction scores are calculated across systems, while Jessica focuses on the governance aspects, updating data dictionaries with precise definitions and creating alerts that will trigger if similar inconsistencies appear in the future. By mid-afternoon, Jessica has shifted to documentation mode, meticulously recording her findings in the company's business glossary. She creates a clear definition of customer satisfaction score that both technical and business teams can understand, documents the approved calculation methodology, and specifies which systems should be considered the authoritative source for this information. This documentation isn't merely administrative busywork, it forms the foundation of data literacy across the organization. When a new data analyst joins the marketing team next month, this documentation will prevent them from making the same misinterpretations that led to today's issue. The final phase of Jessica's investigation involves diplomatic communication with business users. She schedules a meeting with the marketing team to explain the data discrepancy, its cause, and the implemented solution. During this meeting, she carefully balances technical accuracy with business relevance, explaining data limitations without undermining confidence in the company's analytics capabilities. Data stewards face challenges, such as addressing recurring input problems after presenting a mask to a researcher, requiring patience and diplomacy, notes one industry expert. They must determine if the issues stem from their system and provide solutions, often bridging time gaps while waiting for IT to resolve issues. This pattern of investigation, resolution, documentation, and communication fills much of a data steward's calendar. But there's significant variety day to day, keeping the role dynamic and engaging. One day might focus on resolving urgent data quality issues, another might involve planning governance strategies for a new data domain, and still another might center on training business users on proper data handling procedures. A typical day for a data steward is not fixed, which keeps the job interesting and varied, according to industry research. The work includes daily customer contact, frequent meetings, and service testing. This variety makes the role dynamic and engaging, with tasks that come up repeatedly. Between these case investigations, data stewards regularly present at company knowledge-sharing sessions, test data services to ensure quality, and participate in cross-functional governance committees. They might spend the morning helping a finance analyst understand why two seemingly identical reports show different revenue figures, and the afternoon collaborating with IT on improving data quality detection algorithms. What might appear as mundane administrative tasks to outsiders actually translate directly to business performance. When Jessica resolves the satisfaction score discrepancy, she's not just fixing a technical glitch, she's ensuring the marketing team allocates their multi-million-dollar campaign budget effectively rather than targeting the wrong customer segments based on faulty churn predictions. Similarly, when a data steward standardizes product classification codes across e-commerce and inventory systems, they are enabling accurate demand forecasting that prevents both costly stockouts and expensive overstock situations. And when they work with legal teams to document data retention requirements in the company's data dictionary, they're protecting the organization from potential compliance penalties. The impact of these daily activities compounds over time. Organizations with mature data stewardship practices make decisions based on consistent, accurate information rather than discovering weeks later that their strategies were built on conflicting or erroneous data. Operating departments spend less time debating whose numbers are correct and more time implementing improvements. Executives gain confidence in the metrics driving their strategic decisions. The detective's toolkit. While data stewards like Jessica rely on their analytical thinking and domain expertise, they wouldn't get far without their specialized toolkit. Just as crime scene investigators need more than just sharp eyes, today's data detectives employ an array of sophisticated tools that can mean the difference between data chaos and data clarity. The modern data landscape resembles a sprawling metropolis rather than a simple neighborhood. Enterprise systems generate millions of records daily across dozens of platforms. Supply chains connect to partner systems. Customer data flows through marketing platforms, CRM systems, and financial databases simultaneously. No human, regardless of their expertise, could manually track and verify all this information without technological assistance. This complexity creates blind spots where data issues can hide. A single database might contain 500 tables with thousands of fields. Spreadsheets proliferate across departments. Legacy systems maintain their own disconnected records. The data detective needs specialized instruments to navigate this maze and uncover hidden problems before they impact business operations. Data profiling tools serve as the detective's first line of investigation. They automatically scan datasets to identify patterns, structures, and anomalies that would be impossible to spot manually. These tools examine statistical distributions, null values, data types, and relationships between fields to create a comprehensive profile of what normal looks like in a dataset. When a marketing database contains 20 million customer records, a data profiling tool might reveal that 3% of email addresses follow an invalid pattern, or that certain geographic regions show suspiciously high concentrations of luxury vehicle owners compared to income statistics. These initial findings give data stewards the starting points for deeper investigation. The profiling process resembles the initial sweep of a crime scene, methodically documenting what exists, what's missing, and what doesn't quite fit the expected pattern. By automating this process, data profiling tools allow stewards to focus their attention on the most problematic areas rather than manually reviewing endless rows of data. Even more valuable are data quality monitoring dashboards that provide real-time alerts when data patterns deviate from established norms. Unlike profiling tools that perform periodic assessments, these dashboards continuously monitor critical data flows as they enter systems. They act as an early warning system, immediately flagging potential issues. A monitoring dashboard might detect a sudden spike in incomplete customer records from a particular sales region, or notice that product descriptions from a specific supplier have begun omitting crucial specification details. These real-time alerts allow data stewards to address problems at their source before they contaminate downstream systems and reports. The ability to receive immediate notifications transforms data stewardship from a reactive to a proactive discipline. Rather than discovering problems weeks later during quarterly reporting, stewards can intervene at the moment data quality starts to degrade. This capability proves particularly valuable in organizations where data flows constantly through multiple systems. Behind these frontline tools lies a more fundamental component of the data detective's arsenal: metadata management systems. These platforms document what various data elements mean, where they originate, how they transform as they move through systems, and who's responsible for maintaining them. They provide the crucial context that turns raw information into meaningful business assets. Metadata management systems serve as the organizational memory for data definitions and lineage. They answer essential questions. Does customer acquisition date mean the first purchase date or the date they created an account? Which departmental system is the authoritative source for product prices? When regional sales figures don't match corporate totals, which transformation step created the discrepancy? By documenting the origin, transformation, and usage of data assets, these systems enhance data governance and facilitate data understanding across the organization. They provide the necessary background information for effective data investigation, much like a detective's case file contains the history and context needed to solve a crime. This documentation function extends further with business glossary tools which standardize terminology across the organization. These tools help clarify definitions, promote the use of approved data and metadata definitions, and ensure that everyone in the organization speaks the same language when discussing data. Data stewards serve as the editors of this shared vocabulary, adding new business terms, reviewing submissions, and offering their expertise. They ensure that definitions remain clear, understood, and concise, preventing the misinterpretations and misunderstandings that often lead to data-related failures. When marketing refers to active customers as those who purchased in the last 12 months, while finance defines them as accounts with activity in the last 90 days, business decisions inevitably suffer. Glossary tools eliminate these definitional conflicts by establishing a single source of truth for business terminology. What makes these tools truly powerful is how they work together as an integrated system. Data profiling identifies anomalies, monitoring dashboards provide real-time alerts, metadata management tracks lineage and definitions, and business glossaries ensure consistent understanding. This comprehensive approach creates a closed loop of continuous data quality improvement. Consider how these tools might work together in practice. A data quality dashboard alerts a steward to an unusual pattern in new customer records. The Steward uses profiling tools to analyze the affected dataset more thoroughly, confirming a systematic issue. They trace the data lineage using metadata management tools to identify exactly where and how the records are being created. Finally, they consult the business glossary to verify the correct definitions for the affected fields before implementing a solution. This integration transforms what might appear to be administrative tools into a powerful system for protecting business value. Without these specialized instruments, organizations remain vulnerable to costly data disasters like targeting errors, compliance violations, and strategic missteps based on faulty information. The sophistication of these tools reflects the evolution of data stewardship itself, from a predominantly manual reactive function focused on data cleanup to a proactive technology-enabled discipline that prevents issues before they occur. Modern data stewards leverage these tools to handle the volume, velocity, and variety of data that would overwhelm traditional approaches. The business impact of this toolkit extends far beyond technical metrics like error rates or data completeness. When properly deployed, these tools directly influence business outcomes by ensuring that decisions are based on accurate, consistent information. Marketing campaigns reach their intended audiences. Financial forecasts incorporate complete sales data. Compliance reports capture all required information. Organizations that invest in these tools often discover that the return extends beyond mere risk reduction. The same systems that prevent errors also create opportunities to extract more value from existing data assets. With reliable metadata and consistent definitions, previously siloed information becomes accessible for new analytical insights and operational improvements. The AI connection, preventing algorithm crimes. Those operational improvements become exponentially more valuable and simultaneously more vulnerable when artificial intelligence enters the equation. Imagine an AI system making hundreds of thousands of decisions using data that's secretly corrupted at its source. By the time anyone notices the problem, the algorithmic errors have already compounded into something far more serious than simple mistakes. They've become algorithm crimes, systemic failures that scale with frightening efficiency across an entire organization. Consider what happened at one major financial institution that implemented an AI-powered loan approval system. After 6 months of operation, an internal audit revealed the system was rejecting qualified applicants from specific zip codes at rates significantly higher than human underwriters had previously. The pattern wasn't immediately obvious because the AI wasn't explicitly programmed with geographic data. It had discovered subtle correlations in the training dataset that effectively recreated redlining practices from decades earlier. This wasn't a coding error or a malicious algorithm. The AI was simply doing exactly what it was designed to do, finding patterns in historical data and optimizing for specified outcomes. The problem lay entirely in the quality of data it learned from. Historical loan approval data contained inherent biases that human loan officers had worked to overcome. But without proper data stewardship, these biases became encoded into the automated system and amplified with each decision. What makes this scenario particularly troubling is that the AI system appeared to be functioning correctly by traditional performance metrics. Loan default rates remained stable, processing times decreased dramatically, and the system was making consistent decisions. Only specialized testing revealed the discriminatory pattern, testing that wouldn't have happened without a data steward questioning the representativeness of the training data. Unlike traditional data errors that might affect individual records or reports, AI magnifies data quality issues exponentially. When an AI system trains on flawed data, it doesn't just passively inherit these problems, it actively learns to replicate them, finding subtle patterns that humans might miss and applying them systematically to every single decision it makes. This multiplication effect transforms what might have been minor inconsistencies into organization-wide systematic failures. The challenge grows even more complex as AI systems become more sophisticated. Modern machine learning often functions as a black box, making it difficult to trace exactly why specific decisions are made. This opacity means that without rigorous data validation before training, problems can remain hidden until they've caused significant damage. This is where data stewards become essential guardians of AI integrity. While data scientists focus on building sophisticated algorithms, data stewards ensure these algorithms have trustworthy information to learn from. They validate training data, before it ever reaches an AI system, applying a unique combination of domain expertise and technical understanding that pure technologists often lack. The process begins with establishing data quality requirements specifically tailored to AI applications. Data stewards develop and enforce standards that go far beyond basic data hygiene. They analyze training data sets for potential sources of bias, looking for underrepresentation of key demographics, historical patterns that might perpetuate unfair outcomes, or proxy variables that could lead to discriminatory results. In one healthcare organization, data stewards discovered that an AI diagnostic system was underperforming for certain patient populations. Their investigation revealed that the training data contained disproportionately fewer cases from rural healthcare facilities and certain demographic groups. The data stewards worked with clinical teams to augment the training dataset with additional cases and implemented ongoing monitoring to ensure continued representativeness as the system learned from new cases. Data stewards create comprehensive data quality audits specifically designed for AI applications, examining everything from class imbalances to feature completeness. They implement controls that flag potential issues before training begins and develop procedures for data enrichment when gaps are identified. This proactive approach helps prevent the propagation of errors that could significantly degrade AI performance. The contrast between AI systems with and without proper data stewardship is stark. A retail organization implemented two nearly identical recommendation engines for different product lines. One division incorporated data stewardship practices from the beginning, actively validating training data and correcting issues before implementation. The other division rushed their system into production without these safeguards. After 3 months, the properly stewarded system showed 23% higher engagement rates and 17% better conversion metrics compared to the unvalidated system. Perhaps even more telling was what happened when both systems encountered real-world data drifts, gradual changes in customer behavior that made their training data less relevant. The team with strong data stewardship detected the performance degradation within days, quickly identified the root cause, and adapted their model. The other team spent weeks troubleshooting declining performance before finally recognizing their data quality issues. This example highlights a crucial but often overlooked role of data stewards in AI environments, ongoing monitoring and maintenance. AI systems aren't static. They continuously learn and adapt based on new data. Without continuous data quality oversight, even perfectly validated initial training data can gradually develop biases or inaccuracies as new information enters the system. Data stewards implement monitoring workflows that track data quality metrics over time, allowing them to detect subtle shifts that might indicate emerging problems. They establish data quality thresholds that trigger reviews when metrics drift beyond acceptable parameters and create feedback mechanisms to continuously improve data collection practices. The business impact of proper data stewardship for AI applications manifests in several quantifiable ways. Organizations with robust data stewardship practices report AI systems that reach production readiness 40% faster than those without, primarily because they spend less time troubleshooting data-related issues during development. Their production AI systems demonstrate 35% fewer unexpected behaviors and require significantly less frequent retraining. For customer-facing AI applications, the impact becomes even more direct. Systems built with proper data stewardship show 28% higher customer satisfaction scores and generate 32% fewer complaints about unexpected or apparently unfair outcomes. These benefits translate directly to higher adoption rates and greater trust in automated systems. From a risk management perspective, the benefits of AI data stewardship are equally compelling. Organizations with mature data stewardship practices experience 65% fewer regulatory inquiries related to their AI systems and are able to demonstrate compliance with emerging AI ethics standards significantly more efficiently than organizations without such practices. Beyond these efficiency and risk metrics, data stewards contribute directly to the effectiveness of AI applications. By ensuring training data accurately represents the full diversity of situations the AI will encounter, they help create systems that perform consistently across different contexts and populations. This improved generalization capability translates to better business outcomes, more accurate predictions, more relevant recommendations, and more appropriate automated decisions. The acceleration of AI adoption across industries makes data stewardship no longer optional but essential. As algorithms make increasingly consequential decisions, from medical diagnoses to financial approvals to hiring recommendations, the integrity of the data behind these systems becomes a matter of organizational ethics and responsibility. The detective's skill set. Behind every ethical AI implementation stands a data steward with an unusual combination of capabilities. Most professionals excel in either technical understanding or business acumen, rarely both. This explains why effective data stewards are so difficult to find and why organizations struggle to implement successful data governance. Imagine the last time you encountered someone who could fluently translate between technical and business languages while also analyzing complex patterns, navigating organizational politics, and advocating for invisible data quality issues. If you're struggling to recall such an individual, you're not alone. These data detectives possess a rare constellation of abilities. The modern data steward inhabits a unique position at the crossroads of multiple disciplines. They need deep business expertise to understand the context of data, technical knowledge to understand its structure and systems, analytical skills to detect patterns and anomalies, and extraordinary communication abilities to influence stakeholders across organizational boundaries. This multidimensional skill portfolio makes them invaluable assets, but exceptionally challenging to recruit. Business knowledge forms the foundation of effective data stewardship. This isn't just surface-level familiarity with organizational charts or product lines, but a profound understanding of how the business actually operates. The best data stewards comprehend the business needs driving data management decisions and can anticipate the potential impacts that might result from changes to data or from persistent quality issues. When a marketing initiative fails to reach its target audience, a skilled data steward doesn't just clean up the database. They understand exactly how that targeting error affects customer acquisition costs, brand perception, and ultimately revenue forecasts. This business acumen enables data stewards to operate as trusted advisors rather than mere technicians. They can speak authoritatively about the strategic significance of seemingly minor data discrepancies. For instance, when customer records contain inconsistent industry classifications, a data steward with strong business knowledge can explain how this undermines market segmentation, distorts competitive intelligence, and compromises executive dashboards. They understand that data quality isn't an abstract technical concern, but a business imperative, with direct implications for organizational performance. The technical dimension of data stewardship requires comfort with a variety of specialized concepts and tools. While they needn't be expert programmers or database administrators, data stewards must possess sufficient technical literacy to navigate complex systems confidently. They should understand where data elements live within the computing infrastructure and how these elements relate to business concepts and to other data elements. Knowledge of data warehousing principles, data modeling techniques, and relational database concepts allows them to speak credibly with technical teams while representing business interests. Technical skills also enable data stewards to perform critical diagnostic functions. When investigating data issues, they can trace the information flow across systems, identifying where transformations occur and where quality might degrade. They understand enough about SQL to construct queries that test their hypotheses about data anomalies, while they may collaborate with more specialized technical roles for complex implementations. Their technical foundation allows them to identify problems that purely business-focused professionals might miss entirely. The analytical dimension of data stewardship may be the most intellectually demanding. Data stewards confront complex puzzles requiring both business and technical analysis skills. They must connect disparate dots, recognizing patterns that others miss, and identifying causal relationships that explain data anomalies. When a financial report suddenly shows unexplained variances, the data steward combines analytical thinking with domain knowledge to determine whether the issue stems from a data entry error, a system transformation bug, a misapplied business rule, or a legitimate change in business conditions. This analytical capability extends beyond reactive problem solving to proactive pattern recognition. Exceptional data stewards develop an almost intuitive sense for data quality. They can scan a report and immediately spot values that don't align with expected patterns. They instinctively question convenient results that seem too good to be true. And most importantly, they pursue root causes rather than symptoms, recognizing that superficial fixes simply allow problems to resurface elsewhere in the ecosystem. Perhaps the most underappreciated aspect of the data steward's skill portfolio is their communication prowess. Data stewards must be adept facilitators, persuasive speakers, natural teachers, and diplomatic negotiators. They lack formal authority over most of the stakeholders they influence, yet they must convince busy professionals to invest time in data quality initiatives that may not deliver immediate personal benefits. They translate arcane technical concepts into clear business terms and, conversely, express business requirements in precise technical specifications. The communication challenge is compounded by the fact that data stewards often deliver unwelcome news. They identify inconsistencies in treasured reports, question the validity of analysis that supports popular initiatives, and advocate for investments in invisible infrastructure improvements rather than flashy new features. Doing this effectively requires exceptional interpersonal skills, inquisitiveness balanced with diplomacy, conviction tempered with humility, and persistence married to patience. What truly separates extraordinary data stewards from average ones is their ability to bridge the communication gap between technical and business realms. They serve as linguistic interpreters between groups that often speak entirely different languages, translating business requirements into technical specifications, and conversely explaining technical constraints in business terms. This bridging function allows them to build consensus around data quality initiatives and drive governance efforts that would otherwise stall amid conflicting priorities. This unique skill combination explains why data stewards are often cultivated rather than hired. Organizations frequently identify business professionals with strong domain expertise and subject matter knowledge, then develop their technical and analytical capabilities. A marketing analyst might take on data stewardship responsibilities alongside their primary role, leveraging their deep familiarity with marketing data while expanding their governance skills. In other cases, dedicated data stewards focus exclusively on quality and governance within a specific business domain, becoming the recognized authority on customer data, product information, or financial records. The rarity of finding all these skills in one individual explains why fewer than 5% of professionals naturally possess the complete package required for effective data stewardship. Most technical experts lack sufficient business context to make meaningful governance decisions, while business professionals rarely possess the technical depth required to understand data systems and structures. Even those with both business and technical knowledge may lack the analytical mindset to solve complex data puzzles or the communication skills to influence stakeholders effectively. This skill gap explains why 68% of enterprises still struggle to implement effective data governance despite recognizing its importance. Organizations that succeed in building data stewardship capacity typically do so through deliberate development programs that identify promising candidates with partial skill sets and systematically build their capabilities in the missing dimensions. They pair technically oriented professionals with business mentors, or conversely, give business experts opportunities to develop technical literacy through structured training and practical experience. The data steward's role becomes even more crucial and more challenging in the age of artificial intelligence and machine learning. As algorithms increasingly drive consequential decisions across organizations, the integrity of training data becomes a matter of organizational ethics and responsibility. Data stewards must now add an understanding of AI biases, model drift, and algorithmic transparency to their already substantial skill portfolios. The most effective are developing specialized expertise in evaluating training datasets for representativeness and identifying subtle biases that might be amplified through algorithmic decision-making. The business case: measuring success. Despite their critical importance, data stewards often find themselves in an uncomfortable position at budget meetings. In a world obsessed with immediate returns, how do you quantify the value of preventing problems that haven't happened yet? This invisible battle between long-term data integrity and short-term financial pressures creates one of the most persistent challenges in modern business. Picture this. A data steward stands before a panel of executives presenting the results of a 6-month data quality initiative. The CIO shifts impatiently in her chair before interrupting. "We've invested significant resources in this program. Where's the measurable impact on our bottom line? What's our return on investment?" The room falls silent as all eyes turn to the data steward for an answer. This scenario plays out in boardrooms around the world. Data professionals understand intuitively that quality information drives better decisions, but translating this understanding into financial terms that resonate with executives can be remarkably difficult. The benefits of data stewardship often manifest as problems that never occurred, making them nearly invisible to leadership focused on quarterly results. This fundamental tension creates a persuasion problem. While data stewards work diligently to establish long-term information integrity, business leaders frequently operate under immediate market pressures and short-term financial targets. The challenge lies in bridging this gap, finding ways to demonstrate that data quality initiatives directly contribute to business objectives that executives already care about. To overcome this challenge, successful data stewards have developed concrete measurement frameworks. While the value of clean data might seem abstract, certain metrics effectively quantify the impact of data stewardship programs. These metrics fall into different categories, each telling part of the data quality story. Let's start with the fundamental operational metrics. Error rates provide visibility into how often data fails to meet quality standards, offering a direct measure of improvement over time. For example, tracking the percentage of customer records with incomplete or inaccurate information establishes a baseline that can be monitored as data governance matures. Resolution time measures how quickly the organization identifies and addresses data issues, a critical factor in minimizing their business impact. Compliance violations track adherence to both internal data policies and external regulations, with direct implications for risk management. These operational metrics provide the foundation, but financial metrics speak most directly to executive concerns. The cost of poor data quality represents perhaps the most powerful financial argument for data stewardship. Organizations can calculate this by examining specific business impacts, revenue lost through missed opportunities, resources wasted on rework, compliance penalties, and customer churn resulting from data errors. One retail banking executive discovered that data quality problems were costing her organization approximately $15 million annually in direct operational expenses, a figure that excluded the more significant impact on customer experience and strategic decision-making. By systematically identifying these costs, data stewards can present a compelling case for continued investment in data quality. Efficiency gains provide another tangible measure. By tracking the time employees spend reconciling conflicting information or manually cleansing data, organizations can quantify productivity improvements resulting from better data governance. In one manufacturing company, improved data quality reduced the time spent preparing monthly management reports by 70%, freeing highly skilled analysts to focus on value-added analysis rather than data preparation. Risk reduction represents the third key financial metric. While preventing problems remains challenging to quantify, organizations can estimate the reduced likelihood of specific risks and their potential costs. For financial institutions, this might include the decreased probability of regulatory penalties or the reduced risk of fraud losses due to more accurate customer verification data. The most persuasive approach combines these metrics into before and after comparisons that clearly demonstrate the impact of data stewardship initiatives. This requires establishing a baseline measurement before implementing data governance programs, then tracking improvements over time. For instance, one healthcare organization documented a 65% reduction in claims rejection rates after implementing a focused data quality program for patient information, a change that directly improved cash flow and reduced administrative costs. These before and after comparisons enable organizations to calculate the actual return on investment for data quality initiatives. The calculation itself is straightforward. Divide the financial benefits, cost savings plus additional revenue, by the total investment in data stewardship. However, accurately Identifying all the benefits requires close collaboration between data teams and business units. A major telecommunications provider applied this approach when evaluating their customer data stewardship program. They identified $4.2 million in annual savings from reduced marketing waste, faster service delivery, and fewer billing disputes. Against a program investment of $1.3 million, this represented a 323% first-year return, a compelling argument for continued funding. Yet even with these impressive numbers, data stewards sometimes struggle to convince particularly skeptical executives. The most successful practitioners have discovered a powerful technique: tying data quality directly to specific business outcomes that executives already care about. Rather than presenting data stewardship as a separate initiative with its own abstract benefits, they position it as an enabler for existing strategic priorities. For example, if the organization has prioritized customer experience improvement, data stewards can demonstrate how accurate, consistent customer data directly impacts key customer satisfaction metrics. If the focus is market expansion, they can show how reliable prospect data improves campaign performance and sales conversion rates. This approach makes data quality tangible by connecting it to goals the leadership team has already endorsed. A healthcare system applied this approach by linking patient data quality directly to their strategic priority of reducing readmission rates. By demonstrating how incomplete medication histories and inaccurate discharge instructions contributed to preventable readmissions, data stewards secured executive support for a comprehensive clinical data governance program. The initiative later proved its value by helping reduce readmissions by 22%, with corresponding improvements in both patient outcomes and reimbursement rates. This business outcome approach addresses a fundamental truth about organizational psychology. Executives are more likely to support initiatives that solve problems they've already acknowledged. By positioning data quality as a critical enabler for existing priorities rather than a competing initiative, data stewards can overcome resistance and secure the resources they need. Effective measurement also requires appropriate timing. While some benefits materialize quickly, others take longer to appear. The most successful data stewards manage expectations by identifying and tracking early indicators of success, metrics that show progress before the full financial impact becomes apparent. This might include improved user confidence in data systems, increased usage of official data sources, or reduced time spent resolving data discrepancies. By demonstrating incremental progress while building toward more significant financial outcomes, data stewards maintain executive support during the critical early stages of data governance initiatives. This balanced approach recognizes that while long-term benefits provide the ultimate justification, short-term wins sustain momentum. Organizational models, the detective agency. With executive buy-in secured through clear metrics, the next challenge becomes architectural. Where exactly do these data detectives fit within your organization? The blueprint you choose for your data stewardship program shapes everything from communication flows to overall effectiveness, and it's a decision many organizations struggle to optimize. Let's visualize this using organizational charts. In a centralized model, all data stewards report to a single authority, typically a chief data officer or similar executive. This creates a unified command structure where policies, standards, and methods flow from a central source. In contrast, a federated model distributes data stewards across different business units or departments, each primarily reporting to their functional leaders while maintaining dotted line relationships to a central data governance team. Both approaches come with distinct trade-offs. Centralized models excel at enforcing consistency across the enterprise. When all data stewards answer to the same leadership, they naturally develop standardized practices. Definitions, quality criteria, and governance processes remain uniform regardless of which department uses the data. This uniformity creates a powerful foundation for enterprise-wide analytics and cross-functional initiatives. However, centralization can create distance between data stewards and the business domains they serve. A data steward focused on customer data might be organizationally removed from the sales and marketing teams that use this information daily. This separation can lead to governance that feels disconnected from practical business needs. Federated models flip this equation. By placing data stewards directly within business units, they gain intimate knowledge of domain-specific requirements and challenges. A marketing data steward embedded in the marketing department understands not just the data structures, but the strategic business context of how that information drives campaigns and customer engagement. This proximity builds credibility and ensures that governance efforts align with business priorities. The downside? Federated structures often struggle with consistency. When data stewards report primarily to business unit leaders, enterprise-wide standards can become fragmented. Different departments may develop conflicting definitions or inconsistent quality thresholds, undermining the very purpose of the data stewardship initiative. Given these trade-offs, most successful organizations don't choose between these extremes, they blend them. The hybrid model combines domain-specific data stewards with a central coordination function. This approach balances specialized domain expertise with enterprise-wide consistency. Domain stewards maintain their business unit connections, while a central team ensures alignment across the organization. The reporting structure for these data stewards directly impacts their effectiveness and authority. For maximum influence, data stewards should report to individuals who possess organizational clout, control necessary resources, understand data's strategic value, and actively champion the data governance mission. As one expert notes, the reporting structure is a key consideration when setting up a data stewardship program, as it directly impacts the steward's ability to influence data quality and governance. This influence becomes critical when resolving cross-departmental data conflicts or advocating for investments in data quality initiatives. Organizational culture and program drivers heavily influence these reporting relationships. In business outcome-driven organizations, data stewards might report to functional heads to ensure alignment with strategic initiatives. For companies primarily motivated by regulatory compliance, reporting lines might lead to legal, privacy, or risk offices to emphasize compliance requirements. The seniority level of data steward roles varies with organizational size and structure. In large enterprises, executive-level data stewards send a powerful message about governance priority. As research indicates, in larger organizations, it is beneficial for the data steward to hold a position at the executive level. This sends a clear message about the importance of data governance throughout the company. When executive positions aren't feasible, data stewards should maintain direct reporting lines to executives. This visibility ensures they understand shifting business priorities while securing high-level support for governance initiatives. Beyond reporting structures, organizations must decide between dedicated roles and part-time responsibilities. Many companies, particularly in early governance stages, assign stewardship duties to existing employees rather than creating new positions. These dual-role arrangements introduce additional complexity to reporting structures as individuals balance stewardship responsibilities with their primary functions. The research confirms this approach. The role of the data steward is usually not a new position created in the early stages of a data governance program, but rather a set of responsibilities added to an existing role. While this approach minimizes initial investment, it requires careful workload balancing to ensure data governance doesn't become perpetually deprioritized compared to day-to-day operational demands. Data governance frameworks formalize how data stewards interact with other roles throughout the organization. These frameworks define accountability structures, escalation paths, decision rights, and communication protocols that enable effective governance. Without this structure, even well-positioned data stewards can find themselves unable to drive meaningful change. The cornerstone of these frameworks is the Data Governance Policy, a formal document that legitimizes governance activities. As research indicates, a well-defined data governance policy serves as the foundation for data stewardship, focusing the organization's attention on the importance of data. The policy sends a clear message that senior executives take data governance seriously and will manage data as a valuable asset. These policies, while often invisible in daily operations, provide the organizational mandate that enables data stewards to execute their responsibilities effectively. They establish governance as an official organizational priority rather than a grassroots initiative driven by data enthusiasts. Case studies reveal successful implementations across various organizational contexts. A multinational financial services firm structured its program with domain data stewards embedded in major business units, all coordinated through a central data governance office that reported directly to the chief data officer. This hybrid structure balanced local expertise with enterprise standards, particularly crucial in a highly regulated industry. A mid-sized healthcare provider took a different approach, starting with a small central team of dedicated data stewards focused exclusively on patient data, their most critical and regulated information asset. As their program matured, they gradually expanded by training part-time domain stewards within clinical departments while maintaining central oversight through the Quality and Compliance Office. A global manufacturing company organized its program around key business processes rather than departments. Process-focused data stewards managed information across functional boundaries, breaking down silos between traditionally separated units like production, logistics, and customer service. This approach proved particularly effective for organizations with complex cross-functional workflows. The common thread among successful implementations isn't a specific structure, but rather alignment between structure and organizational context. Companies must consider their unique culture, existing hierarchies, regulatory environment, and business priorities when designing their data stewardship organization. When evaluating which model might work best for your organization, consider these implementation questions. What existing expertise can you leverage? Where do your most critical data quality challenges lie? How interconnected are your business processes? What level of executive sponsorship exists for governance initiatives? How mature is your current data management program? So, how do successful companies actually structure their data stewardship programs? The evidence consistently points to hybrid models as the most effective approach. By combining domain-specific stewards who understand business context with a central coordination function that ensures enterprise standards, organizations achieve the best of both worlds. The governance playbook. While organizational structure determines where your data detectives sit, it's their rulebook that determines whether they succeed or fail. The most sophisticated data stewardship program in the world amounts to little more than good intentions without a formal mandate. Specifically, a data governance policy that gives data stewards the authority to create meaningful change. This foundational document isn't just administrative paperwork, it's the critical difference between transformative data governance and mere checkbox compliance. Picture this, a carefully handcrafted document being passed from one executive to another, receiving thoughtful consideration and ultimately signatures of approval. This scene represents a pivotal moment for any organization. The formal recognition that data is a strategic asset worthy of deliberate management. A data governance policy serves as that formal mandate, signaling the organization's commitment to treating information as a valuable resource rather than an accidental byproduct of daily operations. The significance of this document extends far beyond symbolism. In regulated industries like financial services, a well-crafted policy provides essential evidence for regulatory compliance, including adherence to GDPR and other data protection frameworks. More importantly, it shifts the entire approach to data management from reactive firefighting to proactive stewardship, a transformation that ripples through every corner of the organization. Creating an effective governance policy presents a considerable challenge. Make it too comprehensive and it becomes an unwieldy document that collects digital dust. Make it too simplistic and it fails to provide meaningful guidance for complex scenarios. The most successful organizations strike a delicate balance, creating focused policies that provide clear direction without overwhelming detail. Before putting pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, successful organizations first define their why, the specific strategic reasons for data governance within their unique context. This requires examining corporate and business strategies to identify precisely where data currently falls short of supporting key objectives. Generic benefits found online won't suffice. The policy must address the organization's specific data challenges and opportunities. Consider a healthcare provider whose strategy includes reducing patient readmission rates. Their governance policy would specifically highlight how improved patient data quality directly supports this strategic priority. This targeted approach ensures the policy becomes a practical tool rather than a theoretical exercise, connecting data governance directly to measurable business outcomes. The most effective policies emerge from collaborative development involving stakeholders across the organization. This includes the data governance team, potential data owners, executive sponsors, key data consumers, and representatives from legal, risk, and compliance departments. By gathering diverse perspectives early in the process, organizations build a sense of ownership that dramatically increases acceptance and implementation. An executive sponsor plays a particularly crucial role in this collaborative approach. Their involvement signals organizational commitment and provides the necessary authority for enforcement. Without executive backing, even the best written policy becomes little more than aspirational guidelines. Smart organizations establish guiding principles before drafting the actual policy. These principles serve as foundational truths that shape data management practices throughout the enterprise. Examples might include all data must have a designated owner, critical data receives priority management, and data quality issues should be resolved as close to the source as possible. These principles make policy creation more straightforward and increase stakeholder buy-in by establishing shared values before addressing specific requirements. When it comes to policy content, conciseness trumps comprehensiveness. The most effective governance documents maintain a laser focus on essential elements: policy scope, roles and responsibilities, data management processes, quality standards, and critical definitions. Rather than trying to address every possible scenario, they establish clear frameworks that can be applied to various situations as they arise. The translation from high-level policy to day-to-day practice happens through procedures, standards, and guidelines. While the policy itself remains relatively stable, these supporting documents evolve more frequently to address emerging needs and incorporate lessons learned. This tiered approach provides both consistency and flexibility, a governance structure that bends without breaking. For example, a retail organization might establish a policy stating that all customer data must meet defined quality standards before use in analytics. Supporting procedures would then specify exactly how quality should be measured for different data elements, which tools should be used, and who holds responsibility for remediation when standards aren't met. The connection between governance policies and data stewardship activities emerges most clearly in role definitions. Effective policies explicitly define data stewards' authority, responsibilities, and working relationships with other roles. They answer crucial questions like: can data stewards reject low-quality data submissions? Do they have final say on data definitions? How do they interface with IT teams on technical implementations? These clear role boundaries prevent the all-too-common scenario where data stewards identify issues but lack the authority to implement solutions. Without policy-backed authority, data stewards become frustrated advisors rather than effective agents of change. Surprisingly, some of the most effective governance frameworks are also the simplest. A major telecommunications company transformed its data quality by implementing a straightforward policy focused on just 3 elements: clear ownership definitions, standard quality measurement frameworks, and decision rights for resolving conflicts. This minimalist approach succeeded precisely because it focused on addressing the most pressing governance gaps rather than creating an idealized but impractical structure. Another organization implemented what they called a data constitution, a 1-page document outlining data principles, authority structures, and escalation paths. This concise approach made governance accessible to everyone in the organization rather than remaining the domain of specialists. The implementation of governance policies presents its own set of challenges. Technical barriers often get the most attention, but cultural resistance typically proves more difficult to overcome. Effective implementation requires change management expertise, particularly when introducing new accountability structures to teams accustomed to working independently. So what does a minimal viable data governance policy look like? At its core, it requires just 5 key components: a clear statement of purpose connecting data, governance to business objectives, defined roles and responsibilities for data management, decision rights that clarify who can make what types of data decisions, escalation procedures for resolving conflicts, and measurement frameworks for tracking governance effectiveness. This streamlined approach allows organizations to implement governance quickly and demonstrate value before expanding to more comprehensive structures. Rather than waiting for perfect conditions, successful organizations start with focused policies addressing their most pressing data challenges. For example, a manufacturing company began with a governance policy focused exclusively on product data, as inconsistent product information was creating immediate operational issues. After demonstrating success in this domain, they gradually expanded their governance framework to encompass customer data, financial information, and eventually all enterprise data assets. The future detective evolution of the role. That manufacturing companies' expanding governance model hints at a broader evolution happening across the data landscape. Behind the policies and frameworks, a quieter revolution is taking place. The data steward role itself is transforming from reactive quality enforcer to strategic business partner, and the implications for both organizations and careers are profound. Imagine a data steward in 2025. They're no longer just hunting down inconsistencies in databases, but are actively collaborating with product development teams to design new data products that drive revenue. They're evaluating AI systems, not just for accuracy, but for ethical implications. They're presenting to the C-suite about how data assets can be monetized through innovative services. This isn't science fiction. It's already happening in forward-thinking organizations. The rise of data products represents perhaps the most significant catalyst for this evolution. Data is no longer viewed merely as a byproduct of business operations, but as a valuable asset in itself. Companies are packaging, refining, and selling data as standalone offerings or using it to create entirely new service categories. Consider how financial institutions now offer spending analysis tools or how retailers provide personalized shopping experiences based on customer data. These aren't just features, they're data products. In this new landscape, data stewards are transitioning from guardians of quality to architects of value. They're asking different questions, not just, is this data accurate, but how can this data create competitive advantage? Not merely does this meet our standards, but how can we transform this into something customers will pay for? This shift demands an expanded skill set that blends traditional stewardship with product thinking, business acumen, and innovation capabilities. The strategic elevation of the steward role also means deeper involvement in monetization strategies. When a telecommunications company evaluates whether to sell anonymized location data to urban planners, data stewards are increasingly at the table, offering insights about data quality, privacy implications, and value proposition. When an insurance company develops risk models they can license to other industries, stewards help shape how those assets are packaged and delivered. This represents a fundamental shift from back-end support to frontline business driver. For organizations embracing digital transformation, data stewards are becoming key partners in innovation initiatives. They're working alongside product managers to identify opportunities where data can solve customer problems in novel ways. They're collaborating with R&D teams to ensure new offerings are built on reliable, high-quality information foundations, and they're helping leadership understand the untapped potential in existing data assets that could spark the next breakthrough service. Perhaps nowhere is the evolution more apparent than in the growing intersection between data stewardship and artificial intelligence. As AI systems become more prevalent across industries, data stewards find themselves on the front lines of ensuring these powerful tools operate responsibly. Their role in data ethics has expanded dramatically, moving beyond simple quality checks to include critical questions about bias, representation, and algorithmic fairness. Consider how AI systems make decisions that directly impact people's lives, from loan approvals to medical diagnoses to hiring recommendations. When these systems learn from historical data containing inherent biases or incomplete representations, they can perpetuate or even amplify societal inequities. Modern data stewards are increasingly responsible for identifying these potential issues before they become embedded in automated systems. This preventative approach marks a significant shift from traditional reactive quality management. Today's evolving data stewards proactively validate training data before it reaches AI systems, helping ensure that machine learning models receive diverse, representative, and unbiased information. They're developing frameworks to assess datasets for potential ethical concerns and implementing processes to continuously monitor AI outputs for signs of problematic patterns. The benefits of this expanded role extend beyond risk mitigation. Organizations where data stewards actively participate in AI development report more accurate models, faster development cycles, and higher user trust. When data experts are involved from the outset of AI projects, they help technical teams avoid common pitfalls like training on inappropriate data or failing to account for edge cases. This collaboration accelerates implementation while building more robust systems. As stewards become more deeply integrated into strategic initiatives, their communication responsibilities are also evolving. They're increasingly called upon to translate complex data concepts for executive audiences, articulate the business value of quality information, and build cases for investment in data capabilities. The most effective modern stewards can speak both the language of technology and the language of business, serving as vital interpreters between these often disconnected worlds. This evolution is also reflected in emerging tools and techniques. Traditional data quality platforms are being supplemented with AI-powered anomaly detection, automated metadata harvesting, and collaborative data curation environments. Self-service data preparation tools are putting more capabilities in the hands of business users while giving stewards oversight through governance guardrails. These technologies are changing how stewards work, allowing them to scale their impact across larger and more complex data ecosystems. The organizational positioning of data stewards is similarly transforming. While they once operated primarily within IT departments or back-office functions, they're increasingly found in strategic positions reporting to chief data officers or even directly to business unit leaders. This elevation reflects their growing importance in driving business outcomes rather than just maintaining technical standards. For professionals in or considering this field, these changes represent both opportunity and challenge. The opportunity lies in the increasing strategic relevance and expanded career paths now available to data stewards. As organizations recognize the competitive advantage of well-managed data assets, those who can bridge technical expertise with business strategy find themselves in high demand. The challenge comes from the need to develop new capabilities beyond traditional data management skills. Tomorrow's data stewards need to understand product development methodologies, possess business modeling expertise, grasp ethical frameworks, and develop executive presence. They need to think like entrepreneurs, seeing potential value where others see only information. They need to be comfortable operating in ambiguous, rapidly changing environments where the rules are still being written. This evolution creates intriguing career progression possibilities. Data stewards who embrace these new dimensions can advance into roles like data product manager, AI ethics officer, or chief data officer. The foundational skills of understanding data's context, ensuring its quality, and facilitating its appropriate use remain relevant, but are applied to increasingly strategic challenges. Organizations that recognize and support this evolution gain significant competitive advantages. They're better positioned to create innovative data products, implement responsible AI systems, and extract maximum value from their information assets. They avoid the compliance risks and reputational damage that can come from ethically questionable data practices. And they build teams better equipped to turn data chaos into strategic clarity. The implications for data governance frameworks are equally profound. Static policies focused narrowly on quality standards are giving way to dynamic frameworks that balance innovation with responsibility. Modern governance increasingly emphasizes enablement alongside control, helping organizations use data creatively while maintaining appropriate safeguards. Data stewards are central to this balancing act, bringing practical wisdom to questions about what's possible versus what's prudent. What does this mean for aspiring data professionals? The evolution creates exciting entry points into the field beyond traditional database administration or data analysis roles. Those with backgrounds in ethics, product development, or business strategy can now find paths into data stewardship by complementing their existing expertise with technical data skills. This diversity of backgrounds strengthens data teams by bringing multiple perspectives to increasingly complex data challenges, becoming a data detective. Beyond just opening doors to professionals from varied backgrounds, this evolution raises a critical question. What specific steps can you take to become the data detective your organization desperately needs? The career transformation from where you are now to influential data steward follows patterns that few recognize, but anyone can leverage, regardless of your starting point. The journey to becoming a data steward typically follows three main paths, each with distinct advantages. The business domain specialist route leverages your deep understanding of specific business processes. The technical specialist path builds on database or systems expertise. The analytics professional pathway utilizes your existing data analysis capabilities. What's interesting is that each starting point provides unique strengths while requiring specific skills development to fill knowledge gaps. Consider Maya, who transitioned from marketing operations to become a functional data steward for her company's customer data. I already understood how our customer data was being used across marketing campaigns and sales initiatives, she explains. What I needed to develop was technical knowledge about how that data flowed through our systems and stronger skills in defining data quality rules. Within 18 months, Maya had transformed her career by strategically building on her existing domain knowledge. The greatest challenge in becoming a data steward isn't simply acquiring technical skills. It's developing that rare combination of business understanding, technical knowledge, analytical thinking, and communication abilities. A survey of 200 data governance professionals revealed that 83% ranked balancing technical expertise with business acumen as their most significant development challenge. This explains why organizations increasingly value professionals who can bridge these worlds. For business professionals looking to transition, your path forward requires strategic skill building in key technical areas. First, develop fundamental data modeling concepts through online courses focusing on entity relationship diagrams and data structures. Next, build practical SQL skills to query and manipulate data directly. Third, gain exposure to metadata management principles through industry webinars and specialized workshops. Finally, learn data quality assessment techniques through hands-on projects in your current role. Alex, who moved from operations management to data stewardship, shares, I volunteered to lead a data cleanup initiative for our inventory system. This gave me practical experience with data profiling tools and helped me understand how poor data quality directly impacted our supply chain efficiency. That project became my portfolio piece when applying for my first official data steward position. For technical professionals, the transition requires developing deeper business domain knowledge and communication skills. Begin by shadowing business users to understand their daily workflows and pain points. Partner with business analysts on requirements gathering sessions. Practice translating technical concepts into business terms through documentation and presentations. Most importantly, develop facilitation skills by volunteering to lead cross-functional meetings focused on data issues. My background in database administration gave me strong technical credentials, notes Raj, now a lead data steward. But I had to invest significant time learning our business processes and developing relationships with stakeholders. The turning point came when I started hosting monthly data quality office hours where business users could drop in with questions. This transformed my reputation from database person to data problem solver. Analytics professionals transitioning to data stewardship need to expand their knowledge of governance frameworks and data management disciplines. Focus on understanding data governance principles through recognized frameworks like DAMA-DEMBOK. Develop skills in policy writing and procedure development. Learn data lineage techniques to track information flow across complex environments. Build knowledge about regulatory compliance requirements affecting your industry's data practices. Regardless of your starting point, certain educational resources stand out as particularly valuable. The DAMA International Data Management Body of Knowledge provides comprehensive foundational knowledge across all data management disciplines. The Data Governance Institute offers specialized courses focused specifically on stewardship practices. For certification, the CDMP, Certified Data Management Professional, remains the gold standard, while specialized certifications like IBM's Data Governance Fundamentals provide targeted credentials. Formal education provided me with frameworks and terminology, says Leslie, a data steward in healthcare. But the data governance and stewardship community on professional networks connected me with mentors who shared practical advice that no textbook could offer. Their guidance helped me navigate political challenges I encountered while implementing governance policies. Beyond formal education, practical experience remains crucial. Start by identifying data quality issues within your current role and documenting them thoroughly. Volunteer for data cleanup initiatives to gain hands-on experience with quality improvement. Create simple data dictionaries for your team's most important information assets. Join or establish a data governance committee in your organization, even if it's informal initially. Mentorship accelerates this transformation significantly. Identify experienced data professionals in your organization who might provide guidance. Be specific about what you hope to learn, whether it's technical knowledge, communication approaches, or organizational navigation. Offer value in return by sharing your domain expertise or supporting their initiatives. Virtual mentorship through professional communities can supplement in-person relationships, connecting you with experts beyond your immediate organization. The financial rewards for this career transition can be substantial. Entry-level data stewards typically earn between $65,000 and $85,000 annually in the United States. With 3 to 5 years of experience, this range increases to $85,000, $110,000. Senior data stewards and governance leaders can command salaries of $120,000 or $160,000, with those in regulated industries or leadership positions often earning at the higher end of this spectrum. Career progression typically follows several paths. Many data stewards advance into data governance leadership roles, overseeing stewardship programs across multiple domains. Others transition into data architecture positions, designing systems based on their deep understanding of information needs. Some leverage their experience to become data product managers, creating data-driven services. The path to Chief Data Officer remains open for those who demonstrate both technical excellence and strategic business thinking. The most immediate steps you can take to begin this transformation involve strategic positioning within your current role. Start maintaining an inventory of data issues you encounter, documenting their business impact. Propose solutions that demonstrate your understanding of both technical and business considerations. Create simple data quality metrics to track improvement over time. Develop a one-page data profile for a critical data set in your area, showing your attention to metadata and quality characteristics. Within your organization, position yourself as a data advocate by raising awareness about quality issues in appropriate forums. Volunteer for projects involving data cleanup or system migrations. Share articles about data governance with colleagues and leadership. Start building a cross-functional network, connecting technical teams and business users, positioning yourself at this critical intersection. Throughout our journey, we've seen how data stewards serve as the true detectives of the information age, transforming raw data chaos into business clarity. They're not just administrators, but strategic problem solvers who directly impact revenue, customer satisfaction, and operational efficiency. This role elevates beyond mundane data management to become an exciting investigative position that helps organizations navigate increasingly complex data environments, especially as AI adoption accelerates across industries. The next step is yours. Examine your organization's data landscape critically. Identify inconsistencies, question assumptions, and become the champion who transforms your data from a liability into a strategic asset. Become a data detective. Start investigating your organization's data quality issues today and turn chaos into clarity.